What is up, duelists? It's Chaotic Neutral. I'm bringing you another deck profile, and this deck isn't just nuts, it's D's nuts, because we are talking about Triple D. And this is a version of Triple D that runs the Xyz Armor package, and that in turn can get us 4 words, Kali Yuga Turn Skip. But I'm really excited to bring you this deck. Got the T right here and the T right here. So definitely excited to get into this. Now, before we go into this, I just want to go over a little bit of terminology. Of course, with the names of the cards, I'm going to be talking double D for these right here and triple D for these right here. There's also some triple D monsters in the main deck. But when I say DD instead of double or triple D, that's a blanket that's mainly referring to the effects that certain cards have, and that's a blanket card blanket term that can refer to both the double D and the triple D monsters. So just to make sure nothing gets mixed up for those who may not be familiar with the deck. But yeah, this deck is just absolutely nuts. It can make some really nutty end boards. The combo lines can be a bit absurd and overwhelming, but if you can learn the combo lines in this deck, you can learn the combo lines in anything. But yeah, so don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and let's get right on into it. So, we'll start with our main deck monsters, specifically the ones we're doing 3 of. We have 3 copies of Double D Savant Kepler, 3 copies of Double D Savant Copernicus, 3 copies of Double D Griffin, and 3 copies of Double D Swirl Slime. For the Kepler and the Copernicus, we won't really ever be concerned with their pendulum effects. There is an instance where we would use Kepler for a pendulum, not for the effect, but for the absurdly high pendulum scale. But mainly, Kepler, when it's normal or special summoned, allows you to search for a dark contract, bring it to your hand. With Copernicus, it allows you to search for a double D or dark contract card and send it to your graveyard. Swirl Slime right here is a good one to have in a pinch. It has an effect in hand where you can send it and another DD monster in your hand to graveyard in order to fusion summon. And then when it's in the graveyard, you can banish it from the graveyard in order to special summon a DD monster from your hand. And then DD Griffin right here, absolutely one of the best cards in the deck, and it does so many things that it's just absolutely broken. First of all, in the Pendulum Zone, according to the amount of dark contract cards you have either on your field or in your graveyard, you can target one of your DD monsters, raise that up by 500 attack points per dark contract on field or in graveyard, and then it gets destroyed and of course goes to the top of the extra deck. On field, now its monster effects, it's just nuts. First of all, if you control a DD, then you can special summon it from hand. It's a great extender. It's a level 4 piece to help you go into your rank 4 plays on the XZ side. If it's pendulum summoned, then you can send a DD or dark contract card from your hand to the graveyard and draw another card. And if it's special summoned from the graveyard, then you can search for a DD card from your deck and bring it to hand. So yeah, it just does a ton of crazy stuff, but all of these are just very helpful. And Copernicus is a vital part of your combos that would go into your Kali Yuga Turn Skip. And then Kepler is a 1-card combo starter in itself that can get you to some pretty good boards. We also have a bunch of one of DD monsters to talk about. We have 1 copy of Double D Lamia, 1 copy of Double D Necroslime, 1 copy of Double D Vice Typhon, 1 copy of Double D Cerberus, 1 copy of Double D Savant Thomas, 1 copy of Triple D Divine Zero King Rage, 1 copy of Triple D Vice King Requiem, and 1 copy of Triple D Oblivion King Abyss Ragnarok. Lamia, it's a really good extension piece. If it's in your hand or your graveyard, you can pop a DD card in either on your field or in your hand in order to special summon it, but then it gets banished after it leaves the field. Necroslime, if it's in your graveyard, you can banish it and another DD in order to fusion summon Triple D Fusion monster from your extra deck. Vice Typhon basically does the same thing, but it's specifically for getting a higher level DD monster. a higher level triple D monster. It's level 8 or higher fusion monster. The rest of these we're mainly only concerned with their pendulum effects. Cerberus, you can target when it's in the pendulum zone, you can target a DD monster you control, make it a level 4. Thomas, if it's in your pendulum zone, you have a DD card in on top of your extra deck, then you can bring it to your hand. Zero King Rage helps to, besides the absurdly low scale number, it helps to shield us from effect damage. Requiem, if it's in the pendulum zone, you have a dark contract on the field, you can pop the dark contract, special summon itself, and it's a level 8, which is going to help us go into the Kali Yuga. And then the Abyss King Ragnarok, it is level 8, but it's not really going to come up for the as material for Kali Yuga itself. Again, we're mainly concerned with the effect that if something's special summoned, if a DD is special summoned while it's in the pendulum zone, then you can special summon a DD from the graveyard. But if it's a turn that you could attack your opponent in, the battle damage your opponent take will be halved, and you'll also take 1,000 effect damage. Small price to pay, though, to really get the play going. But that is it for our engine monsters. Then we got a couple non-engine ones to go into. So for non-engine monsters, we have 3 copies of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, and 3 copies of Droll and Lockbird. These really don't need explanation, just really good hand traps. Ash definitely helps with certain choke points, and Droll legitimately won me a few of the games. But yeah, so now let's go into spells. We'll start with some of the engine spells. We have 3 copies of Dark Contract with the Gate, 1 copy of Dark Contract of the Swamp King, 1 copy of Dark Contract with Patent License, 1 copy of Dark Contract the Eternal Darkness, 1 copy of Triple D Headhunt. So with Gate, that's going to allow you to search for a DD monster, bring it to hand. Swamp King is going to allow you to fusion summon. You can use monsters from the hand or field, or banish monsters from the graveyard in order to perform a fusion summon. Patent License rarely comes up. Mostly it's there for cannon fodder for either your Deus Machina X or your Lamia. If it does come up and it's on the field, basically if you control an Xyz monster, they summon the Xyz monster, they take 1,000 damage, and then they can't summon any more Xyz monsters. Same with, if you control a fusion monster, they do a fusion monster. You control a Link and they summon a Link, yada yada yada. And then if it goes to graveyard, from field to graveyard, or if it gets into the graveyard, then you can bring a DD from your graveyard or top the extra deck to your hand. Like I said, mostly it's going to be cannon fodder for the Lamia or the Machina X. Eternal Darkness doesn't really come up all that much. These 2 particular are also good side out options when you need to do some side decking. And for this one in particular, if you control 2 DD monsters in your pendulum zones, then you can basically prevent your opponent from kind of doing anything. They can't, monster-wise, they can't target monsters on the field with spell or trap effects. They can't tribute them for tribute summon. They can't use them for fusion, synchro, or Xyz summons. Now, with your Gate, your Swamp King, and your contract with the Eternal Darkness, on your standby phases, you take 1,000 damage from them. But, of course, there's ways around that, like either popping them for certain effects or using Zero King Rage to shield you from effect damage. Then we also have the DDD Headhunt, Triple D Headhunt, that basically it's kind of like Widow Anchor, that you can target one of your opponent's monsters, take control of it, and negate its effects until the end of the turn. And then also, if it's if that monster is from the extra deck, then you can treat it as a Triple D monster, meaning you could use it as material to go into Machina X or other things. But those are the engine spells and traps. Then we have a few other ones to go through. We have 3 copies of Puri Ray's Map, 1 copy of 1 for 1, 1 copy Foolish Burial, 1 copy of Call by the Grave, and then for our Armor Xyz package, 1 Armor Xyz and 1 Full Armor Xyz. Puri Ray's Map is a search piece that's going to help you get to your monsters with 0 attack, specifically your Double D Savant Copernicus and your Double D Savant Kepler. You can get one of those. But then after it resolves, you do give up half of your life points. 1 for 1, you pitch a monster from your hand in order to special summon a level 1 monster from hand or deck. Foolish Burial, of course, sends one to the graveyard. Called by the grave to handle hand traps. And then Armored Xyz and Full Armor Xyz, help us with the Armored Xyz package. Armored Xyz, this would really help with Dark Knight Lancer on the field. But basically you can use this to target an Xyz monster in your field and an Xyz monster in your graveyard. You equip the Xyz monster on your field with the Xyz monster from your graveyard. And then Full Armored Xyz, that allows you to perform an Xyz summon on your opponent's turn, which of course is a big part of the Kali Yuga play. But that is it for the main deck, and we'll go into extra. So, we'll start with Link Monsters. We have 1 copy of Cross Sheep and 3 copies of Triple D Abyss King Gilgamesh. Cross Sheep, this goes into part of our Kali Yuga play, but you can make it with 2 monsters with different names, and then what we'll mainly do with it is we'll after it's on the field, we fusion summon, and we fusion summon that monster to one of its link zones. And when a fusion monster is special summoned to one of its link zones, then it can special summon a level 4 or lower monster from the graveyard and just help keep your play going. Then with the Gilgamesh, this card is just absurd. So first of all, when it's special summoned, you can activate its effect. It allows you to take 2 DD Pendulum monsters from your deck and then put them directly into Pendulum Scales. But of course, when you use it, you're locked into DD monsters. You're locked into special summoning DD monsters for the rest of the turn. And then also, you take one on resolution, you take 1,000 points of damage. But small price to pay. And then we play 3 of these just because you're gonna cycle into it a lot, just keep linking into it to move the play along. And then you can also use this to it doesn't really have a lot of attack power, 1800, but you can use this as material to go into your Machinax to have another big body on the field. But this card is just absurd. It really helps to move things along. It's just such a great asset in Triple D. We have, for fusions, 2 copies of Triple D Flame King Genghis and 1 copy of Triple D Flame High King Genghis. So all of these share one particular ability where it's something special summoned to the field while it's on the field that they can special summon a DD monster from the graveyard. But in addition, Executive Genghis here has an effect where if your opponent tries to activate a spell or trap card or a spell or trap effect, then you can negate it. So just definitely helpful as a hindrance to your opponent there. Then for our Xyz, we'll start with the Xyz Armor stuff. We have 1 copy of Xyz Armor Fortress, 1 copy of Full Armor Dark Knight Lancer. So with the Fortress, of course, attach 1 or more materials. It's going to help get you into your Armored Xyz cards, usually Full Armored Xyz, although in an instance where you do have 2 or more materials, you can detach 2 in order to get both Full Armored Xyz and Armored Xyz. And of course, you can make this off of your Wave King Caesar, since it's rank 4, and you can go into this with it and move the play along. And then, of course, you can use the Fortress to make your Lancer. Lancer, of course, it gains 300 for every equip piece and every material it has. And then also, if something's equipped to it, then its effect activates, which allows you to suck up one of your opponent's monsters as an overlay. It won't really come up much, but when it does, it is helpful, and it's also just a good big body to have. Then we have 1 copy Triple D Wave King Caesar, 1 copy Triple D High Wave King Caesar, 1 copy Triple D Marksman King Tell, 2 copies Triple D Divisor King Deus Machinax, and the big dog, 1 copy of Triple D Duodong King Kali Yuga. With Wave King Caesar, first of all, we can use that to rank up into either the Fortress or the Marksman King Tell. And then secondly, when it's sent to the graveyard, we can search for, from the field to the graveyard, not an Xyz material, but from the field to the graveyard, that we can search for a Dark Contract and bring it to hand. Wave King Big Caesar does have that same search ability, But the main thing we have it for is that it can detach a material in order to negate an effect that would special summon a monster, and then also after that resolves, it and another triple D monster on the field both get a boost of 1800 attack points until the end of the turn. So not great for your opponent. Marksman King Tell. We can rank it up from the, like I said, we can rank it up from the Xyz. And then if you took effect damage earlier in the turn, you can detach a material from it in order to lower one monster on the field by 1000 attack, and then also burn your opponent for 1000 damage. And if it's sent to the graveyard, you can send a DD or a Dark Contract card from your deck to the graveyard. With the Divisor King Deus Machinax, like I said, it's easy to get into this. You just need a triple D monster, so a lot of times that's what you'll use your Gilgamesh that's hanging around to go into. And it has a nice little ability where if your opponent has the audacity to do anything, if one of their monsters activates an effect, then has a quick effect where you can, for cost, either detach two materials from this, or pop a Dark Contract on the field, and then it sucks up that monster that activated the effect as an overlay. So just really good way of messing with your opponent, and also a 3000 attack and defense big body. And then finally we have the big dog, Triple D Duodong King Kali Yuga. When it's after it's Xyz summoned for the rest of that turn, no other cards on the field or effects on the field can be activated except for it. So it just turns off everything, essentially turns off your opponent's turn. And on top of that, let's say it's like that they do that, you do that to them, so they think, okay, fine, I'll just play in the next round. They lay a bunch of stuff in their back row. It also has another effect where you can a quick effect where you can detach a material from it and pop all spells and traps on the field. So just they try to do that, Kali Yuga says no. And of course, 3500 beat stick, what's not to love? But that is the deck. And then in our next video, we'll go into some combos. There's a couple 1-card combos that can get you just some really decent inboards, but then there's also 2-card combos that can get you to the Kali Yuga Turn Skip. But this deck is absolutely nuts. I don't remember if I mentioned it earlier, but I took this to locals and I went undefeated. I won't beleaguer you with a long deck profile, tournament report again, because that video was entirely too long. But round 1, Crystal Beast went 2-0. Round 2, Fire King Sinful Spoils went 2-0. Round 3, Keshtir Scareclaw went 2-1. And, but yeah, just great deck, a really fun deck. And like I said, the next video we'll do some of the combos. Don't forget to tune in for the next one. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. And until then, happy dueling.